let's talk about the elements of a story. Character setting, plot, and theme. Most stories and movies follow a similar pattern. The patterns or elements are not always easy to see, and sometimes the author hides them to make us think, search for them, or use our imaginations. Good readers can follow this pattern and talk about it with the right terms. Also, learning the elements of a story will not only help you read better, but it can also help you write your own creative stories. This is the 6th video in the series, Foundations of Reading Comprehension. The goal is to help you become an active participant in the reading process. I'm not only going to explain each element of a story, but give you examples from the book The Digger and the Duckling. So if you haven't already, you can listen to this read aloud. First, let's talk about the plot. The plot is the big moments or events of the story. This is how the story develops and unfolds. When the plot is exciting, readers are on the edge of their seats, dying to know what happens next. The plot is made up of 6 parts. Get ready for some big words. First, the exposition. This is where we meet the characters and get to know the setting. The characters are the who, the people or animals in the story. We see the story through the eyes of characters, and they're the ones that drive the story forward. Good authors create characters that we like and relate to. For example, in our book The Digger and the Duckling, the characters are the duckling, digger, and all the other trucks. Each character has traits and their own personality. This is what the character is like. Sometimes the author tells us what the character is like, and other times we have to infer. I'll cover that in a future video. We know the digger is nice. Does it ever say he's nice? No, it doesn't. But we see that he's nice because he helps the duckling. We get to know the characters by what they do and say in the story. Next, the setting is also introduced in the exposition. This is the when and where that the story takes place. The setting will change throughout the story as the characters go on their journey, but great settings are places where readers love to go and can imagine living there. The Digger and the Duckling takes place on a construction site. That is the location, the where. It happens over several seasons. We see it go from spring to summer, to fall to winter, and then back to spring. That is the when or time of the story. It shows us the story takes place over a period of time. The next part of the plot is the problem. This is the challenge or obstacle that the characters will have to fix and overcome in the story. This is the why. The characters go on a journey. Why? To fix the problem. There can be both internal and external problems. Internal problems happen inside the character. Maybe they lack confidence, are not happy, or they feel alone. These are the problems the character faces in their head. In our story, the internal problem is the anger or frustration that the trucks feel. Throughout the story, you can see them battling their emotions, and they finally overcome it when they've learned to become family. External problems are challenges the character faces in the world. It could be a big bully or an evil villain. For example, in our story, there's a couple external problems. First, the duckling is lost. It doesn't know where its family is. Second, the duckling needs someone to take care of her. And lastly, the duckling bothers the other trucks by making a huge mess. Great stories will have both types of problems. And sometimes in the story, the problem gets worse before it gets better. Just know that the whole point of the story is for the characters to solve the problem. The third part of the plot is the rising action. This is the longest part of the story, and it's where the characters try to solve the problem. They may make mistakes, or even make the problem worse at times, but we will slowly see our characters grow and change through the story. In our story, the rising action is a part where each truck slowly begins to like and care for the duck. We watch as one by one they grow to like the duckling, and the duckling learns to help them. Real quick, before we move on, if you found any value so far in the video, smash the like button so this video can spread and help more people. This is the 6th video in the series, Foundations of Reading Comprehension. At the end of this video, I'm going to give you a challenge to practice this skill. Now the 4th part is the climax. This is the most intense part of the story. The problem has gotten worse and it seems impossible to fix. You're on the edge of your seat, dying to know what comes next. This happens closer to the end of the story. The climax of our story is when the wind carries the duck away and the trucks are worried that she's gonna get hurt. You see how the trucks have gone from being angry to wanting to save the duck. Next, the falling action. This is where the story slows down. The problem has been solved and the characters are moving on. In our story, right before the duckling falls, she spreads her wings and flies. The trucks realize she's all grown up and encourage her to spread her wings and fly away. The duck leaves and the trucks go back to building. There's a sense of pride, but also sadness. The final part of the plot is the resolution. This is where the character reflects on what they've learned, and the author answers any questions we still have. The book ends with the duck returning. You realize the duck sees the trucks as their family and the job site as her home. You get to enjoy the change in the characters and reflect on the lessons of family. There's another duck in the pond, so you start to wonder, will there be a second book? The main thing you need to know is that good stories send the characters on exciting journeys to fix the major problem. The last element of a story is theme. This is the message, lesson, or moral of the story. The author never directly tells us what the theme is, so we do some detective work to figure it out. Think about these questions. What did the character learn? How did the character change and grow? What message or lesson is the author trying to teach him? The trucks learn to live as family and welcome in someone who was lost. It can teach us to do the same thing in our lives. Now, here's the challenge. I want you to find a book that you enjoy reading. It's better if you know the story really well. I have created a document for you that you'll find in the video description. You can either print this out and write your ideas down, or just talk about your answers. These questions will make you think about the elements of your story, the character setting, plot, and theme. You can go through this process with as many books as you want. Make sure to smash the like button, hit subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Adios.